r/ask Reddit. What's an oh shit moment where you realized you've been doing something the wrong way for years? I owned a light blue colored microwave for about 3 years that a family member gave me for a housewarming gift. Thought it was cool. Never saw a blue microwave before. One night, a buddy asked why I never took the blue plastic wrap off my microwave, then proceeded to peel it off for me. Damn, that beach is silver. Still miss my blue microwave sometimes though. After moving to a new city, I went to the laundromat and the Korean lady working was yelling at me about something I couldn't understand. After some pantomime, it became clear that she was upset I was putting in the wrong detergent, but it was the same kind I have been using for 8 years since moving away to college and behind. Turns out I've been washing my clothes with only fabric softener for nearly a decade. They always smelled good, so I never really thought about it. Not my proudest moment. I'll pour one out for the absorbency of all of your towels. Wait, does fabric softener reduce towel absorbency or just the lack of actual detergent? Fabric softener basically coats your towels in wax, making them shit at absorbing water. I did this for about a year and a half. There was a buy 2 huge tubs, get a $10 gift card, so I thought great, I'll be able to wash my clothes for a while with these. Friend asked to borrow some detergent and I give her them. No, I wanted laundry detergent, not fabric softener. I did almost the opposite. I used to shop at this cheap little Mexican market under my apartment in East LA. One day I went down to buy a bar of this Mexican soap that was always super cheap. I mentioned to my GF something about the soap being so cheap and the cashier, in broken English, told me that I was bathing with laundry detergent. I'll never forget her trying so hard to not laugh at me, but honestly it was pretty funny. My family always had a cup next to the bathroom sink in case you needed to rinse your mouth after brushing your teeth, or maybe get a quick drink of water in the middle of the night. My grandma had the same cup at her house. I used it for years whenever I was thirsty. One day she saw me doing this and said, "Don't use that cup. That's where grandma puts her teeth." When I was a kid, I was told that the paper that came on cupcakes muffins was edible. I would spend a decade eating them like this, paper and all, until a friend pointed it out. "I would be so terrified of you if I saw you do this." This is the first comment in this thread that's had me laughing out loud for about 30 seconds. Thank you for that. Dude, did you see that? That guy just ate a cupcake with the paper still on it, candle lit and all in one bite. I mean, you ate them for a decade. I think you proved they are edible. Travel frequently for work and only just noticed that most laptop bags have a strap to place over a rolling suitcase handle. That's what the ducking thing is for. I would probably look like Megamind if I learnt as much in school as I do on this app. Do you have a picture? I'm not sure I understand. I taught myself how to play clarinet. 6 months later someone told me that I'd been playing with the mouthpiece upside down. Orchestral clarinetist here. You're some kind of wizard for making that work, and I have much respect for you. Maybe you just had your mouth upside down. I used to fill the kettle by the spout. My parents have always done it this way. I thought the center part was mainly for decoration, but not functional. I don't know why I never questioned this. One day I bought a new tea kettle and my husband was like, "WTF, what is inside this?" And with great ease, opened the center to pull out a manual with instructions and whatnot. I was drinking dirty paper water for like 2 weeks. Okay, but why did your parents do this in the first place? Ugh, I don't know. Maybe I should tell them. Take a pic of what the manual inside your parents' kettle looks like. I used to pull my pants down all the way at the urinal. I've seen this as an adult in the workforce as a programmer. I weep for our prospects. I was with my little cousin at the mall. I was 13. He was 9. We went to pee at the urinals and I saw him pull his pants all the way down. I was like, no, and explained how to use the zipper. A guy comes walking out of the stall and says, "Good work showing that boy how to get that hose out." One day I used a key fob to remotely start my dad's car. It was an oh shit moment for him. 2 years and he didn't realize he had this handy little function. My dad bought an aftermarket remote start and took it in to get installed. When he went to pick it up, they asked him what was wrong with the factory one. Man face palming. I owned a car with swivel headlights and it was very nice to have that. Discovered 3 years in that I had never turned on the swivel feature. Oh man. I thought the AC button in my car, Snowflake, was defrost, so I never used it in summer. Duck, did I feel dumb. 2 years. I didn't find out that I was supposed to punch out for lunch until my third job. And even then it was because a coworker mentioned it in passing that they were clocking out for lunch. That's freaking awesome. I cannot believe none of your bosses did not ever say anything to you. At my first and only full-time job I've had, they didn't require you to clock out for lunch. They said they just dock 30 minutes off your pay so that you would have more time to get out to the break room and eat, instead of everyone lining up 5 minutes before lunch to try and hurry out to the break room. Not mine. But my dad has been spelling his name wrong his whole life. He's 51. His name is Jeffrey, and he's been spelling it like that since he learned how to spell his name. A few months ago my mom pulled out his birth certificate, and we all learned it's actually spelled Jeffrey. Not sure if he spells it correctly now, but it was definitely an oh shit moment for him. My wife and I have the ceiling fan light in our bedroom in the house we moved into 2 years ago. It has a remote control for the fan and lights. About a year and a half ago the lights suddenly stopped working. The fan works well and we didn't have a ton of money, so we've just lived with lamps in the room. Always being frustrated with how damn dark it is. I was scrolling some other thread on Ask Reddit Tifu a few weeks ago, and the top post was a guy talking about how his light stopped working years ago, and then he found out that it was just dimmed, which you do by holding down the button on the remote. It sounded so much like our fan I went and tried it. Dimmed. I'm vigorously checking this thread to make sure I'm not an idiot too. Not cause I've been doing something wrong my entire life, but saw it wrong. I'm colorblind, and my entire life I thought peanut butter was green until I turned 19. And when I found out it was brown my mind was blown. It took so long because no one really talks about the color of things like that. When I was in high school I was talking to a colorblind friend asking the usual dumb questions. Like what color is a green light when you're driving, and he said he knows which light is which even though they all look gray. So I said, "Oh, so Yoda is gray to you then?" His horrified expression as he yelled, "Yoda is green," was priceless. Former school nurse here. The number of high school boys who don't know what circumcision is amazingly high. Many think they were born circumcised. When they finally see a foreskin, they are in complete awe. When they find out the brown ring on their penis is a scar from when their foreskin was removed, they are also amazed. Row. My mom has been pronouncing Massachusetts Massachusetts for years, and no one corrected her because they thought she just had strong feelings about Massachusetts. My mother cannot pronounce that or Mitsubishi. She tries, but same outcome, and Mitsubishi comes out Mitsubishi. My name is Ryan. It took me until I was in first grade to realize my name wasn't in the alphabet. My mom had told me my name was in the alphabet, and I felt so lucky. She obviously meant the letters to spell my name were in the alphabet. But nope. It took that long to realize the alphabet didn't go W, X, Ryan Z. Sometimes I assume I know the lyrics to songs I have heard on the radio for a long time. I always sang Toto's Africa as I miss the rains down in Africa, until someone made fun of me and told me it's I bless the rains down in Africa. I argued, that makes no sense. Why would someone bless rain? It's a song about longing to return to Africa, which is why they miss the rain. Then I went home and looked up the lyrics. Even more fun when English isn't your first language. We found love in a homeless place. We found love in a homeless place. Figured they were boning at a homeless shelter. That you do, in fact, need to disassemble your laundry dryer and clean the lint out from underneath the drum once per year. I'm 31 and never knew this. No one ever said anything. Never saw anyone do this. Crappiest thing is that my parents also learned this the hard way and never bothered to give me a tip when I bought my first dryer. Luckily, the wife and I discovered the lint buildup when changing the rollers. I said to my parents, "Wow, it really builds up in there." And they were like, "Oh yeah, you need to do that like once a year." Right. Oh my, I just found the thing I didn't know either. My dryer has been taking longer to dry lately, and now I'm thinking that might be why. so I had always assumed that gas stations had pipes that led to a nearby oil plant or something. I live in Houston, so during Hurricane Harvey in 2017 there was so much news about the gas stations being empty because they weren't being filled. I was in the car with my sisters and we were talking about it, and I mentioned I don't understand how the gas supply was limited when the pipes are underground and not affected by the flooding. They both looked at me with the most confused faces ever, and one of them said, "You do know that trucks come to fill up gas stations, right?" And I was completely shook by this and had no idea, and they asked me, "So when you see the big trucks at little gas stations in the city with the tubes in the ground, what do you think they were doing?" And I replied, "Filling up their gas." Not something I did wrong, but definitely something I thought wrong for 17 years. Well, this was a few years ago. I was the director of IT for a very large company. I was given a new cell phone and told to set up my voicemail. I don't know that when I recorded my name it would be played to whomever I leave a voicemail for. Well, the name I recorded was Dudder84 Corporate IT God. I worked there for 4 years until someone in the hallway referred to me as the Corporate IT God. I was so embarrassed. Since the dawn of time, I would pick up the silverware and utensils out of their tray in the dishwasher and put them away in their drawers, then go back and pick up more out of the dishwasher. Then one day I saw my wife lift the tray out of the dishwasher and I legit stood there with my mouth open. God damn it. I knew that thing moved because I've removed it and changed it around to make pans or big dishes fit better. And I've still been going back and forth for the silverware. Not wrong for years, but I work help desk, and we use a specific, terrible piece of software for our support system, IBM Notes. It turns out that for the first 9 months I had been working there, it wasn't set up properly, so I wasn't sending any emails from it at all. No notifications that the ticket went to me. No responses from me. No close notifications. Nothing. Someone noticed this, took a look, and fixed a setting. I immediately sent out over 1,000 emails to everyone in the company. You work in IT and managed to keep your job without sending emails for 9 months. That's impressive. This is insane to me. My boss gets on me if he doesn't see me send enough emails in a day. I didn't realize I had to brush the back of my teeth as well as the front. I was a dumb kid. I blamed toothpaste adverts. Until I was 15. Had 9 filings and a root canal. Same. Embarrassingly enough, I thought you brushed your teeth to keep them white. I didn't know anything about keeping them healthy, so I thought, I don't mind if my back teeth are yellow. Nobody's going to see them anyway. When I realized, at 18, that the phrase is up and Adam not up and Adam, I was always wondering who the hell Adam was. Thought it was a stupid phrase. Up and at them. No, it's up and Adam. No one really ever told me you don't need to buy shoes with the 2 fingers space in front of the toes after your feet stop growing. I had been buying an entire size too big until about age 23. One day in college I decided to try a pair of Merrell barefoot type shoes, and after reading the sizing guide, bam, mind blown. It's terribly obvious mistake. I, 29F, like to blame on being an only child, but really I'm just a ducking moron. Winding a watch that was battery powered for like a year. Duck. Thanks for making me think of that. Realized the multicolored tape measures glued to the door frames of gas stations etc. are for identifying robbers, not for measuring yourself as you walk out. I mean, they can be, but that's not why they are there, unless you're the robber. For 20 plus years I've been saying play it by ear instead of play it by ear. After a lengthy argument and a quick Google search, I was left with my tail between my legs. I recently realized that the arrow to the right of the right comment box on Reddit Mobile lets you skip to the next comment thread. My mom used to refer to me as a bull in a china shop. Always heard it as bowl in a china shop, thinking it was a compliment. At about 22 I hear someone else use the phrase and realized she meant bull, not bowl. We bought a nice liquor cabinet. We got it delivered and noticed it was a bit shorter than we thought. No biggie. 3 years later, we're moving. Lift up cabinet in these beautiful, ornate, screw-on legs wrapped in tape and bubble wrap fall off the bottom. Looks so much better now. Reminds me of when my mum bought a new sofa. About 6 months later she's hoovering under the cushions when the base fabric pulls back to reveal some sort of metal and a mattress. Turns out we had a sofa bed. Made my friends sleep on the floor with the sofa bed right there. This one is extra funny if one of your friends recognized the sofa bed from one of their relatives' houses and was just lying next to it all night going, why would he do this? I thought we were friends. Always took things for granted. Not really doing something, but I completely thought that the White House was in Washington the state until I was like 23. It's a hole in my knowledge I can neither explain nor defend. I have since visited and confirmed it's in DC. I thought of a second one. I was incredibly sheltered growing up. Anything sex related was taboo and not discussed. I was in middle school when instant messaging really became mainstream. I couldn't understand why the boy I had a crush on kept laughing at me and telling me not to use the shorthand comfort cum. I didn't find out for a few years. Related. I genuinely thought a hand job was essentially frantically waving side to side with the palm on the penis, and a blowjob was, you guessed it, blowing on a penis, until probably around 8th grade. Sigh. I was dating an Asian woman some years ago, and when we got Chinese takeout, she completely unfolded the box and laid it flat like a plate. She said that was by design, and for the life of her could never understand why her friends always scooped it out onto another plate when the box was the plate. I now do this all the time and it weirds people out. The correct way to eat Chinese food is in front of the refrigerator, leaning against the counter, with the box intact. Pronouncing hybrid as high bird. My husband repeated it to me in a snuffleupagus voice, and I swear I had a Ratatouille food critic flashback to every time in my life I said it wrong. I was 33. Also, snuffleupagus. Learned earlier last year, bust a nut isn't an expression for when something hits your nuts or you land in a way that crushes them. When I was 5, a Pizza Hut employee told me that the powder on the breadsticks was called fairy dust. Ordered extra fairy dust on my breadsticks until I was around 14 when an employee said, "Do you mean garlic salt?" It still devastates me to realize how obtuse I was. Until last week, when my father-in-law would made a phone call on his very basic non-touchscreen flip phone. He would open the menu, scroll to the phone icon, open it, hit the soft key for contacts, scroll to the person he wanted to call, press OK, then press the soft key to call. When he mentioned how he preferred his landline because he could just dial the number, I said, humor me, just dial the number and hit the talk button. I've never seen a man so simultaneously grateful and embarrassed. My eldest child had a penchant for blowing out of his diapers. We tried everything, but multiple times a week we had to pull that poo-filled Onishi over his head and inevitably give our now super duper poo-covered infant a bath. Around when I was pregnant with our second, a post went viral about how infant Onisies are designed to be broad at the shoulders so you can pull them down and off instead of over the head. Poor kid would have had so many fewer poo in hair incidents had I known that then. When I was washing my pet's water dishes and then dried them, I thought, YTF am I drying the inside when it's just going to be filled with water? I've had pets my whole life. I have been doing this shit for 30 ducking years. Drying every time. Row. Kraft mac and cheese. Up until a few months ago I would drain the noodles, add them back to the pot, then add the milk, butter, and cheese packet. It took forever to get all the clumps out. Then I realized it would be way easier to just add the milk, butter, and cheese to the already hot pan and make a cheese sauce while the noodles are draining. No more clumps. I was at Crate and Barrel with my GF talking about how it's so weird they don't make tongs so you open them up super wide and then press in. I thought it was odd that they only gave you a super tiny opening. In the middle of me saying this, she just presses the button at the bottom of the tongs I was holding and I stopped mid-sentence in shame. When I used to check my email, I would go to Alta Vista and type "please go to yahoo.com. Do you ever buy soda in a 6 or 8 pack of bottles, and then struggle to twist and pull bottle out of the tight plastic rings? There's a pull tab connected to a serrated line through the plastic. You can just pull that and then the plastic will break easily when you pull at the bottle. My aunt taught me about this over 20 years ago. Because no one in my immediate family was aware of it, I let my fiance in the secret just last week. pronouncing Chick-fil-A as Chick-fil-A. Never had one near me, so mostly just pronounced it in my head that way, so no one corrected me. Once one opened near me, I told the boys at work we gotta go try some Chick-fil-A. They still bust my balls about it. It wasn't very long, but when I was learning to drive, my dad was explaining the rule of thumb regarding a safe distance to be behind the car in front of you. I thought it meant to hold your thumb up, and if your thumb didn't cover the entire car you were too close to it. When he caught me doing that, he asked me what I was doing. When I explained, he burst out laughing, then considered it, and concluded it wasn't a bad idea but perhaps a bit distracting. I used to open a banana by holding it in the middle and peeling it down traditionally from the stem after snapping it to the side. Then I saw a documentary about monkeys. They open them by driving their thumb into the other flat end and pushing like it's a button. The air bubble pops it out, then they peel it back. Bonus: the stem is like a handle to hold it from. Not taking financial investing advice from monkeys, but bananas? They're onto something. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.